Marc Marquez's advantage over the other GP23 riders this year has been really noticeable. In fact, if you look at the standings so far in the 2024 championship, Marquez has scored 311 points, which is 177 points clear of both Fabio Di Giannantonio and Marco Bezzecchi. His teammate and his brother Alex on the other GP23 is 187 points back. It's a stark difference from what we've seen last year with the satellite Ducatis, as the GP22 was a successful bike, as the GP22 was able to challenge then the latest spec bike, which was the GP23, and it took a lot of wins. But this year, Marc Marquez is the only rider to win on a satellite Ducati. And interestingly, there has only been 2 GP23 riders that have stepped on the podium once, and the rest have all been him. Why is that? Well, it can be down to a number of factors. I'm not going to make any secrets about it. We know how talented Marc Marquez is, and he's making the difference. It is clear. He's been the only Ducati rider outside of the factory bikes of the 24s to really fight for wins and, kind of be a factor in this title fight. His speed has been there pretty much since he stepped on the bike. And this is the key point to make. He stepped on the bike after jumping off a Honda. He didn't know what a Ducati was like at all. He got on the bike in Valencia last year, and from there he has just known that to be what the Ducati feels like. However, they all rode GP22s last year, and to great success, they all won races on them. Alex Marquez winning a couple of sprints, Fabio Di Giannantonio winning Grand Prix in Qatar, and of course Marco Bezzecchi winning several races and being a factor in the title fight. But then Michelin have came in with a new rear tyre. And this is something that Marquez, like I say, has just got on with it. He has just known this is what it must feel like to ride a Ducati. But when you look at the other riders, it tells a different story. But as I say, Marco Bezzecchi is 177 points off Marquez as of time of recording. He has struggled all season with rear tyre. And in simpler terms, he has said that the bike has got more grip, but the front tyre is being pushed way more than it used to. So the new profile of the Michelin rear tyre, and this is why we've touched on it in our podcast, we talk about the 24s, why they all have the similar crash that Bagnaia, Bastianini and Martin have. They all lose the front end simply because the rear is pushing so hard on the front that it's losing grip and it's crashing. This is something that Marco Bezzecchi realised straight away when he tested the bike in Valencia last year. Then we went to testing and it looked like Bezzecchi was struggling even more. Took him a while to get his head around it, and you can easily say that this is a contributing factor for the rest of the GP23 riders. And the point I'm making is Marquez is understanding the bike from a totally fresh perspective. He hasn't had to ride an older Ducati with the older spec tyres. He's been on a Honda for all those years, and he gets on the Ducati with the new rear tyre. He just adapts to it quicker, and this is a key advantage for Marc. But to make the difference that he has done compared to the other riders is where we're going to focus this video. The fact that he's able to fight with the GP24s on a regular occurrence is pretty incredible. Back to the races that he had with Bagnaia in Jerez. He was great in Le Mans. He showed so much speed in Catalunya. Same at Mugello. He just kept building and building, and this is why it's so impressive. The GP23 hasn't had the amount of upgrades that in previous years the satellite bikes would have got. Now, they did get an engine upgrade for the second half of the season, and Marquez subsequently did win races at Aragon and in Misano. Very much different circumstances. Marquez looked unbeatable at Aragon. It's a track that he's always loved, and no one could get close to him, not even the GP24s. He was in a different league. Misano 1 was a very different race, of course, as Marquez got into a situation that he thrives in. He knows when the weather gets bad or when it's changeable, he is a master of finding out what is the right decision and when to push. He done that, he won the race, and then he settled for a third place at the next round at Misano. So positive signs for Marquez as they entered the flyaway races. He struggled in Indonesia. He made a great comeback ride in the sprint, but the key point is in the Grand Prix his engine went bang. Bike was on fire. It ruined the engine. There was parts that he was given All GP23 riders were given contributing factor to the engine going pop. So Ducati have now took away that upgraded spec on the engine and have now given them back what they had at the start of the year. So I'm not saying it's a bad thing. We've seen in Montegi that Marquez was still able to get podiums, able to fight off an Bastianini in the Grand Prix on the factory GP24. But it highlights what he's having to do. Things as well, like he's said 2 to 3 times he finds that the GP24 has over the GP23 per lap. And also ride height device. They haven't got the updated ride height device that was given last year to the GP23 factory riders. They have stuck with the one that Johan Zarco and stuff had last year on the GP23. He's at a disadvantage, but where he can make that up is in braking. And of course, he's one of the best brakers in MotoGP. Frankie Carcetti has put on his Twitter account, the max of where their braking capabilities are. It shows where he's able to make up things. But also, we talked about the tyres, and the GP23 is slightly worse on its tyres compared to the 24. When the tyre drops off on the 23, it's bad. When the drop off happens on the 24, it's at a much manageable level, and it's able to take advantage of that. We've seen that in Indonesia, in the sprint race especially, with Marc Marquez and Bastianini. You could see it visibly from the onboards how much that bike was able to pull away from the 23 and manage its rear compared to the 23. But this is a key point. Marquez thrives in lower grip conditions. When the tires go off, he usually is faster at the end of a race. Even going back to Motegi, the pace had dropped off because tire wear, and he was running low 1 minute 45s, pretty much 45 ones. He was quickest rider on track for a couple of laps, and it showed that Bagnaia and Martin, even though they were up the road, Marquez was still putting in the fastest laps, and Bagnaia and Martin weren't slow. This is the key point. Marquez is doing incredible things on that GP23, and I don't think people appreciate enough the great job that he has done this year on the machinery that he's been given. And it all points towards next year, the GP25. He'll have, of course, a factory spec machine in the factory team alongside Pecco Bagnaia. What can he do there? This is going to be something pretty special. I think we're going to see next year. The talent is going to be on full display with the best bike, and I can't wait to see how next year goes down. Don't have to wait that long, of course. It'll be at the Valencia test where we'll see him test the bike for the first time. But let us know in the comments below what you think of Marc Marquez's season so far, the difference that he's been able to make on that 23 compared to the other riders. We'd love to know your thoughts. If you enjoyed, make sure to like the video, subscribe if you are new, and we will catch you next time.